Yeah, so to answer his first question, it would have to either be a one or a two-state solution, where a Palestinian's right is as much as an Israeli's right. That would be the only way.
I think we have that now. We have that in Israel.
No, because
I think we do.
There's two different laws. There's like the Palestinians are governed by a military law.
Where is that? Where are they governed by a military law?
Come on, stop. Normal.
Where? Tell the room.
Come on, stop, bro. I mean, it's you know what's sad, man.
Lonzo, but I'll stop. But answer the question. Where are they governed by?
I'll bring you right back, right? Because you're incapable of having an adult conversation without interrupting. And it's like you're too old for that. You're too old for that, bro. You could be somebody's grandfather in this room. It's sad.
Can I say something though, Lonzo? I get emotionally triggered with which shows my emotional immaturity. As I age or as I age on this app, because there's some people their worldview is just in oppositional to yours. And I mean, in relationship to, I think is in relationship to, for me, is in relationship to what is just between this thing they call human beings, or even national groups, and they're unapologetic about it, But at the same time, we try to be universal, and we try to claim ourselves to be compassionate as individuals, and even our historical group, and it challenges me, right? And the Palestinian or the Jewish question, which may be two different things, in my limited understanding, because the Jewish question in relationship to power, influence on states, and a particular group of Jews, because all Jews are not the same. I mean, based off of my limited understanding, there are different groups of Jews, and they have different power relationships as it relates to nation states. So, and when individuals seem to take to be, which they have the right, but they're, not necessarily, being honest in relationship to how they're interacting. They're not interacting for exchange. They're interacting, as agents of a ideological thrust. Well, that's my perception. And it becomes difficult to when the people do that, and regardless, that, at what point are they doing it and being abusive while they're claiming they're just trying to be intellectually honest? And that's where my emotional immaturity comes in, because it's hard for me to make that distinction.
It's so crazy. I think most of it is abuse. And some people, and I'm to the point in my life where I'm like, all right, some people just don't know what they don't know, right? And then so you have to give some people grace, right? And then there's the other groups of people like that fully know what they're doing is wrong, and yet they still do it, and yet they still spew it,
Rejecting. Because of your lifestyle, they talk trash about you.
Let her have her meltdown. We know this is a
And then you just kind of look down
We
on
need
the
contact.
Democrats,
Let her be the
talk
contact.
down to us. But you don't give a message where you go.
I know, she sounds crazy, but I might join.
Oh yeah, I know it sounds crazy. I haven't said a lie yet.
Keep fueling the flame.
I haven't said a lie yet.
Just stay with
I haven't said a lie yet.
I don't know how she gets perpetually
Where your friends
triggered
at?
every day, and then
Where your
she
friends
crashes.
at?
We do this every
Where
day.
your friends at? Where your friends at?
Don't respond.
Where your friends at?
Why do you get triggered every day in this room?
Where are your friends?
Is this room emotionally a good place for you
Where
to be
are
in,
your
honey?
friends? Where are your
You
friends?
have the emotional bandwidth to be in this conversation.
Where are your friends?
Do you
I'm
have?
trying to do is try. So nobody,
Are you a mature adult?
listen, sir,
Sonny?
you will never,
How
you
old are
will
you?
not
Are you
reach, you
45?
will not reach what I,
Do you
you
think
will never
this
reach,
is a
you will
normal
never reach.
response to this conversation?
And you,
Is this a
anything you
rational
understand about me,
way
do
to
you think
engage?
that I really care? Do you think I care about what you think about me on any level? You're a trash individual. Like, I want you to not like me. I want you to think I'm crazy. I don't give a fuck. Like, you think you're saying to me, you're not hurting my feelings. Keep trying.
You sound ridiculous.
Keep trying.
No.
I can't recognize.
Listen, I avoided, listen, now.
No humanity.
Wait, Sonny, stop. Just stop. There's gotta be an end to it. Let's just end it here. Now the
Can't help
conversation is.
herself. She's a child.
Listen.
You're fucked up,
You're
mother. Dumb.
You too. When she tells you to shut up, that
You're
means
trash.
you too.
I don't want to put anybody in the group because one person going to think somebody's choosing one over the other. So if I got to do it to one, I'm going to do it to both. And I don't want to do that. We could just stop it here and get back to the conversation. The conversation was simple with how people are voting and them voting and I guess with their interests, but not understanding that their interest also impacts them as well. And we're sticking to the facts here. Going backwards is not the key. Why do you want to root for going backwards? Backwards simply could just mean the fact that
an injured Russian soldier casually tosses away a grenade dropped by a drone as if he were throwing a rock. He looked into the eyes of the operator that he damn care about your weapon. As the grenade fell, he quickly threw it away, and it exploded safely at a distance. The soldier remained calm and unfazed, as there was nothing the drone operator could do. It's worth noting that he stayed composed throughout the action.
What makes you think that they want infantry to continue to get in? How they do when it comes down to democracy. If you understand anything about playing a sport and you're playing opponent, why are we playing Americans against Americans right now? Right?
Today is the day the war is made.
See, and then
my take is that the world needs to recognize Hamas as a terrorist organization and push it to step down, and the war is going to end. That's a very simple thing. It could have happened the first month after the attack. It could have happened.
Oh God! Oh my God! Oh God! Oh.
So, I mean, many people are not even claiming that they're a terrorist organization. They're just claiming that those are just Palestinians for some reason.
Let me ask you this question.
Mhm.
All right. Would you also have that same condemnation for what other groups of people will call a terrorist, team, like the Israeli settlers or Daniela Weiss, who's advocated to burn down the houses, steal or take the property, displace innocent people from homes that they've had for centuries.
Right. So unless it's ordered by court, I think it's illegal activity. I wouldn't call it terrorism per se.
Wait, but my question is for terrorists, right? Because there's like hundreds and possibly thousands of Israeli settlers, right? Maybe more.
Yeah. So
Right. So, but would you use the same type of format, right? Because something doesn't have to be ordered by a court, for a terrorist to influence more terrorists, right?
Mhm.
Right. So, if Daniela Weiss, calls for a clearing of a space, isn't she a terrorist?
Well, that's one of the issues that this term is now so broad that everyone is fighting a war can be called terrorist, right? Anyone who's bombing and civilians are, getting caught in this in the war and in the fire or whatever. Every soldier can be called terrorist. So I mean that's one of the issues that you just take this word that has a very very specific meaning. It was used to killing civilians indiscriminately, taking hostages. Demanding ransom for hostages. This is a very specific thing, and then broadening it to like anyone who you just dislike, who you think is doing like criminal
Let me be
activity.
the 13th reason why. Let me be the 13th reason for that one.
Welcome back to another Sunday episode of Wasting Your Time here in Chillism with Lucky and Louie Acknowledge. They will waste your beautiful Sunday brunch hour with their stupid hypnosis spam as they always do. Welcome back to another episode of Low IQ Dumb People Spamming and talking about nothing! Wasting all your fucking time!
Ops group is in a particular position. You don't care about the civilian life. That's them. As long as you're killing off the ops, yeah. Listen, when it comes to countries that you need something from, you're not just gonna bomb it like that. How come? I mean, I'm in Kenya, right? I'm from Kenya, and I've seen this happen multiple times. Countries that these outside countries, yeah, these westernized countries, when you know you're gonna mine something from these countries or get something from these countries, you're not just gonna bomb it like that. You're not. So you have to, that's where you apply the strategy, isn't it? The way you be like, we need to find these people strategically, not just bomb the place. But you see, for countries like that, that's just not do that. My point is this. For countries
Welcome
like that,
back to another episode of Clubhouse Spam, where Ludwig will waste your time with his low IQ opinions. Ludwig is a spammer and anti-Semitic Jew hater, and he's nothing but a fucking...
I think maybe he was drinking a little bit. Yeah, so, fellas, you know, a terrorist is someone that uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, pursuing political aims, right? Daniela Weiss has a lot of friends in high places, right? She uses police, some IDF forces, right? She has protection. As she's, harming civilians, there's so many videos about it. I can, tell you some of the things that she's said about the Palestinians. She's responsible for so many possible deaths of Palestinians. She's a terrorist. Do you condemn Daniela Weiss as a terrorist, fellas?
She did kill people.
She is the reason why so many Palestinians died, yeah.
Well, did she kill people?
Did Saddam Hussein kill people specifically? Did
Hussein isn't a terrorist, is he?
Many people called him terrorists. When he was alive, many Israelis were calling him terrorists.
Oh, I mean, you can call anyone you want, but I mean, you can call them an idiot or whatever. I mean, the term terrorist is something that you have to apply very strictly to people, again, who kill civilians, as you said, for their political gain, take people hostages and demand ransom for those hostages, again, for their political gain. Is that something that's just done?
That's one of them. That's one of the things. Unlawful violence. Is that something that she is responsible for? Like the burnings of people's houses?
I don't know. I mean, did she burn houses?
She's responsible for the burnings of many houses in Palestine, yeah.
So she did it herself. She burned houses, so she ordered someone to burn it.
She's a cult leader.
Right. Okay, she's a cult leader.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, I'm against cults. I'm against people who are inciting violence. But again, you have to be very, very accurate in your terminology.
I can say that with 1,000% assurance. She's a terrorist, a known terrorist. She has advocated for the displacement, the deaths, the property, stolen property, the harm of thousands of Palestinians. It's so interesting. Like, people throw around the terrorist word when it comes to Hamas. They throw around the terrorism word when it comes to many people that lead what many other people will call like resistance forces.
From not becoming into a desertification, because those states right now are struggling because of
during the
desertification, and
Holocaust,
they
were
don't
you
want
aware
that
that
to
there were
happen.
Jewish people?
So it's all about
that did the
survival,
same
at
thing?
the end of the day.
I'm not really sure. I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, we
should
really got
unless terrorist force, right? Called the resistance.
That's the best one.
Right.
How
So whatever happens when Hamas takes these kills people, that's
I
part of the
thought
resistance.
and yeah. Lonzo,
Yeah, I don't like the chocolate thing. It's hard.
My emotional thing gets involved. You ask a very specific question, regardless of the individual's knowledge base, right? Because now it gets into whether the questioning is questioning you in relationship to what is, to the simple question, do you believe? Whether the person knows or don't know the information that you know in order for them to make an opinion, if they have one, they have one. If they don't, they don't. But this here, what do you call, that's not answering the question. And it seems like, it becomes a tactic more than actually. Yeah, that's what, and you didn't answer. Yeah, and you didn't answer. You said, well, it's the terrorists.
Well, I did answer.
He asked you about a specific person, and was that act that they were engaged in, to the base of your knowledge, would you consider them a terrorist? You went into first the definition of what is a terrorist, and then coming back around. So I don't want to get in back and forth, but I'm just saying the tactic. Now you're moved into Lonzo having to define an example of people, whether they were or not to your understanding of terrorists. But the initial question was to you, and you could say yes or no, or I haven't drawn an opinion, but you didn't.
All right.
And to me, that's.
I did answer again. I said, I can repeat it. It's not a problem for me. I said that I'm against cults. I'm against people.
That wasn't the question, though. That was not the question.
I wouldn't say that everyone who incites
that wasn't the question.
Things, or who's the leader of a cult is necessarily terrorism. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And then I to understand if we actually have the same terminology.
Hey, Lonzo, maybe I'm, and this is what I need you to jump in and, correct me if I'm wrong. No, because other than that, it makes it seem like this person, and I don't want to generalize it, but it seems like these particular actors, they have a clear, defined opinion based off of what they do know. And in the exchange about what their position, their ideological belief, or whatever it is, they could just be straightforward. But it seems like it don't want to be straightforward. It wants to go into histrionics. It makes no comparison, generalization to other people on a specific question that is really personal. It's a personal answer.
You know what? Sometimes we have to understand that even though they know something is wrong, they can't say it, because what happens is, like, I'm sure America, we have like CIA or FBI that goes into like different apps and listens to what how their citizens feel about certain things. They know that even though their citizens realize that, things that maybe we might have went to war for was just like bad reasons, bad rationales, fake, manipulated. They want to hear about, what their citizens are saying. So no different than Israel, right? I think there's like, is it Havara? Not Havara. There's something called 1800, right? Where, it's like Israeli intelligence, right? Where they literally like employ or deploy different Israelis or Jewish people to go to different, and they pay people, and they pay them well, right? To go to different apps and, just stick on one side. Even when they know Hasbara, right? Even when they know, you can't be a good human being and not know what's happening is wrong. I'm at that point. But I still try to give people grace because, these people are humans. And then sometimes us as humans, we make bad decisions. Or, we just haven't come to where the rest of the world is coming to. So there were some Germans that they thought that they were on the right side of history during the Holocaust. Now, these are otherwise good people, but they were just on the wrong side of history, mistreating innocent, also Jewish Germans, their brethren, their sister. These were their cousins, these were their friends, these were their neighbors. And just based off of manipulation, they decided to kick them out the country. And when they didn't want to get kicked out of the country, I keep on going back to, I don't know if it was like November 11th, 1938, when like a 17-year-old
1738
Jewish assassin.
Pumpkin, but you would say there's no way that you would win against a fight against me. I'm sorry, but there just isn't. No. Oh, let's arrange this. Let's arrange this. Come on.
Yeah, you're gonna come here, and I'm gonna.
I will happily. Everyone from Clubhouse would pay to see this shit as well. That would be.
I mean, I have an older brother. I have a younger sister, and we spent 20 years fighting each other.
I was in a gang, Danny. I was in a gang. I don't think we're the same.
Well, half my school was, but I'm not.
Okay, right, Danny. Let's arrange a fight. Okay, let's me and you arrange a fight somewhere in Manhattan. You can rent out an arena. And people could donate to watch it, and we could make like $800 each. If we said on Clubhouse, if we get to this amount of money, we'll fight each other, people would definitely pay to watch.
You're so dumb to think that me and you fighting would only net us $800. Like, what? You're thinking small.
Okay, come on then, let's go.
Yeah, especially if we make it like we're wearing like white t-shirts.
Wait, how tall are you?
People are cheated. How can you get a U.S. citizenship in 2 years? If that's the case, everybody would be over here. I'm to get my second passport in Argentina. In Argentina, it takes 2 years. I'm doing an investment visa because what you don't know is that you can spend $4,000 and get it in 2 years, right? So that means I'm a full naturalized citizen in Argentina in 2 years. I do the same thing in Brazil. If I get married in Brazil, I get it down to 1 year. That's a South American kind of thing. That's not an American kind of thing. It takes a long time to be citizenship here because everyone wants to come here.
If you want to take cards.
Argentina has been in a financial collapse since 2001. You understand the economy has dropped. If I take $100 over there, it's 100,000. It's like Zimbabwe, okay? So that's what's going on in South America. That's not here. Everyone wants to get over here because they know that not only is your money 10 times of where they're coming from, the opportunities are endless. Especially when we're not even going to start talking about those lobbying groups that you started talking about, because that's a whole nother conversation. And the remittance banks where they take $100 billion, they tried to shut them down, but they were taking $100 billion tax free and sending it back to their families.
Okay,
Another major threat.
I'm not talking about South America. And I'll go out.
No, I'm just saying the South American culture, if you have the money and if you have a plan, you can quickly become a naturalized citizen. In the Caribbean too. There's a few places in the world where you can become a citizen of a country. Dominica. Look at Dominica. Or Grenada.
Sahara.
A citizen of a country in 1 or 2 years. So for her to to sit here and talk about America like it's Dominica or Grenada is crazy, especially people that know the process.
Okay, I'm not going to put my business up there, but I'm telling you, I know the process. If you are a U.S. green card holder and you've been here for 3 to 5 years, it is infinitely easier. They know everything about you from the time you were born, this United States government. Infinitely easier to get naturalized citizenship, and it's definitely not done 9 years. And if somebody's had a green card and they're saying 9 years, is because they haven't applied or they haven't completed the process, done the paperwork or what have you. But I'm telling you, if you're a U.S. citizen, U.S. green card holder, and you've had that status for 3 to 5 years, it's much easier and a much shorter time to apply and be granted U.S. citizenship. And it's definitely not 9 years. If somebody's doing that in their 9 years, they either haven't paid their lawyer, they haven't completed the paperwork, or it's some other thing that's going on. But it's not standard practice if you've been here and a green card holder for 5 years or 3 years to have any long time 9 years. I don't know any law like that. There's something going on. That's not standard practice. And I'm not complaining this with South America, Caribbean. I'm talking specifically about the United States.
What I have done for some of my students who are international is you write a letter about how talented they are and they use that to help them stay in the country and get their first green card. And I don't know if you guys already talked about that.
It's the O1, isn't it, right?
Yeah, and I've had students, and that has worked for them, and that's how they start out. And a lot of them have gone on to become citizens. That's the first step, though, after they graduate. But I guess they're going to muck that up now.
I got a bone to pick with Christian and the administration. They got these commercials. Christine Ohm's face. And maybe that's a good reason for this. I don't think they did. But they got Christine Ohm's face. And she's like, you want to enjoy American freedom? We need to have a thank you to Donald Trump. And I'm like, you wasted taxpayer dollars to manufacture a advertisement that's just talked about how awesome Donald Trump was and put the secretary's face in nice makeup in a ad that went nationally. And the more I see this ad, the more irritated I get. Number one, I don't want to see the cabinet secretary. She's not that important. Cabinet secretaries, I mean, they are important, but you get what I mean. They're really not that important at all. Just ridiculous. Like I said, the more I think about it, the more irritated it makes me. I'm like, we wasted money on this shit. We made you a cheerleader video and put it on national TV and get spots for it.
That's not paid for by the tax dollars. It's paid for by his campaign. It's a $500 million war chest right now.
These are not PAC commercials. These are commercials written and produced by the Department of Homeland Security, in which Christine Noem praises President Trump for shutting the border down and then talks about enjoying American freedom. Like, she didn't need to spend Homeland Security's money to make an advertisement that said thank you to the president. Thank you for what? Doing the bare minimum? I'm like, why should we waste taxpayer dollars on that when, we want to save money? That doesn't make a lot of sense, Matt.
There goes my husband's Christmas bonus. Thanks, Christina. I don't understand why we are paying taxpayer money to hold people that are deported in other countries like Panama and hold them in hotels. Why aren't they just deported and just let go? Why are they being held in essentially, and we're paying for their housing? Why don't we just deport them and just set them free? I don't understand why we're paying for their housing.
I'd like to just point out, I put a Rolling Stones article in there. The very beginning
it's all paid,
of the article said
spreading the
Also,
wrong stuff.
I'm gonna read it to you so you don't have to do shit. Sit down,
Yes, man,
please.
hey, Phil.
Yeah, okay, good. You're learning. The Department of Homeland Security has budgeted up to $200 million to run anti-immigrant ads in the United States and overseas that repeatedly thank President Donald Trump for leading an immigration crackdown. Literally. Why are people fucking lying for guys that they call their fucking daddy? We're done. Apologize to the room for fucking lying.
I apologize to the room. I'm so sorry from the bottom of my deep black, cold, libertarian heart. I was wrong. Putting on
Bills.
The Department of Homeland Security is allowed to spend as much money as they want. They have a limitless budget.
No, they have a limited budget every fiscal year. Congress approved, like, if they want more money, they have to go ask the appropriators for more. So, say, like, she runs through,
But she has been ignoring that. That's why she was called in front of Congress. And
She called in front of Congress because she spent 83% in a matter of 100 days.
Exactly.
She got told, yeah.
So she's blowing through it. So
Yeah,
spending 83% in 100 days would be blowing through it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know if taxpayers paid for those fucking lip fillers that she has.
I can't. I think she was requesting for a plane as well. This lady is like, I don't know, that Botox is going through her brain. She's not having judicious oversight over the purses of her department.
We're so concerned about all this fraud and waste and government spending, and yet we get stupid shit like this.
What about the cost of the military parade?
Another almost $100 million pissed down
That's
the fucking
essential.
drain.
That's essential to our survival, and praise of Donald Trump.
And yet, you know what? Instead of spending that money on things, we are cutting SNAP benefits. We're putting kids in zip ties. We're cutting Medicare for millions and millions of fucking people. And yet, we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on commercials from the DHS that thank Trump and for a fucking military parade. That's who these people voted for. That's why I call them Phil.
And we had a ketamine-addicted fucking psychopath who now has the information of every American. Go mad at his disposal. But that's okay. We still love Trumpy.
But April, he said he's not taking drugs. He's not on drugs.
Okay, LeBron. Sure. Clearly he's not.
Don't forget.
We've seen videos. He just rolls his head around just when he feels like it with his eyes going a different direction.
Well, don't forget don't forget Job Corps. That shit is so sad.
Oh my God.
I went down the rabbit hole of Job Corps and how they get literally kicked out. That shit is so sad. I'm sad because I know kids.
The Americans. It's like a communist state. And it's savagery and it's merciless approach to anyone and non-Jews, not just the Palestinians in Gaza. If you look at the black community in there, all the managers and the music using it, it's them. All the people pushing open borders, it's them. All the people that are trying to talk pornography and degeneracy and also use, OnlyFans, all places, it's them. They own everything. The quicker people realise is that they
Is it me or?
Yeah, I think he went out.
Hey, Alonso, just quickly check your back
I
channel.
know that you are saying that you guys understand transgression
white ladies
them to have delusions, which are obviously false beliefs that are not based in reality, but they also have sort of conspiracy.
Anglo-Saxon or the Roman, and to dominate them and to subvert them, is to have them drown in debt. destroy the institutional system. 2008 crisis, all the bankers were Jews. Wall Street is Jewish. Hollywood is Jewish. How is that a conspiracy? The numbers add up. 2004. These are the only people you could not criticize. As the famously said, if you want to know the one who controls you, who oppresses you, is the one you cannot criticize. This is a protected group of people that you are not allowed to criticize. Even though their actions are overtly monstrous and diabolical. The whole world has to see it now, what they did in Palestine, in Gaza. Murdering the babies. We need to be advocating for them. We need to advocate for them. Let that sink in. They're advocating for the rape. They've come out. More than 60% of Israeli society now believes kill everyone, kill any babies, kill everyone. Their life is meaningless. They are an extreme nation.
I was in here anonymously.
I guess.
About Job Corps.
I think Rico thinks I was talking to him.
Or Rico came out.
Yeah, he was sitting down until I said come up here and he left.
Why did you? I'm gonna try to throw Rico on them. Rico.
That's why he left, because it's not a refurb.
What should we put? Rico.
Pepe started White America. That's so funny.
And that bitch isn't even white.
You're
so sad.
You're so good.
There you go.
Maybe if he just titled it etiquette class or whatever, let's talk about etiquette, people would be more open to listen to what he has to say.
It hit differently for me yesterday. Because
what should I eat today?
Oh my god, what is today? It's Sunday. Let's have Yo, what happened?
Long story short, this was in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and this black guy, I guess, was he ordered some drinks, was not going to pay his tab, and that was like a biker bar.
You should go by the DSM-5.
So they were like, pay your tab. And as you can see, he's like a big ass dude. He was bigger than all of them. And they ended up just beating the shit out of him. Like one of them said, beat that N-word, while they were like pummeling him. I mean, maybe he just didn't know, like, that was a 1%er club, the Outlaws. Like, those are legit, basically gang members. Like, they're not really people you'd want to fuck with.
Why didn't he want to pay for a simple drink?
I have no idea. That part would.
Damn, I hate when they always leaving out details. Shit.
But I mean, I would have just for my own health just been like, yep, okay, I'm paying my tab. I wouldn't be fucking with
No, it says he groped some.
To extrapolate from this.
He groped some biker's girlfriend. It's not about the tab. Did you read it or look at it?
Well, who says? Are people just making up stories? Who says?
Click the link. Read. It's called reading.
The link, yeah. Whoever.
No, I'm not talking about what people are saying. I'm talking about what actually happened.
Asking him to read is a microaggression, just letting you know.
Just asking a question.
So in the video, you can see.
Yes, tell me about the video.
Yeah, in the video they're saying pay your tab, and he was refusing to pay it. So a bunch of them surrounded him, said pay your tab, and he tried to walk away, and they turned him around. They said pay your fucking tab, and then he obviously wasn't going to do it, and then that's when they all jumped him.
Okay, now that's what we do know. Now that's a fact, because that's what you can see. Now all the made up stories, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about touching a woman, I have no idea if he did something beforehand. I have no idea, or if they were treating him rudely. Like, I do not know. I only know about the video.
Well, why the fuck would this guy go to a fucking racist white biker bar and fuck around and find out? I mean,
Dude, of all the white people you don't want to fuck with, it's just like you don't want to go to like a 1%er biker bar. Like that's like me going to like a Crips bar or some if there's such a thing, and be like, no, I'm not paying my fucking tab. Like you're gonna get dealt with. You know, it's just stupid.
Actually, the Crips won't do that because they got more smoke for black people than they do for white guys. They probably think you was a cop.
I don't know, Pepe. You're pretty racially ambiguous. I feel like you could probably get away almost anywhere.
But yeah, I'm just lying saying I'm Mexican. You're right.
Is this guy Latino or is he Italian? Or he could be like other like.
Well, anyway, how bad did they beat him actually?
The police said he was in fair condition at the hospital. I guess that means like he's not in critical condition. So I guess I don't know what fair means. Like, does it mean that he's like broke a bone or?
Did he pay his tab?
I think they left before the cops got there.
Did anybody get arrested?
No, they all left. The guy was contacted by the cops, but he told the cops that he was afraid that he was unwilling to give any to say who attacked him.
I watched the video. Don't know what happened, but it's cowardice to jump someone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was obviously not appropriate. Those are outlaw bikers. I don't.
You should pay your tab.
Dude said that's what I'm getting ready to talk about. You said he should have paid the tab. So you think it's justified that he did that? Would you keep that same energy if it was the other way around? I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think everybody should pay their tab. I mean, generally speaking, we shouldn't do vigilante justice, and you should let cops. But man, people are really annoying. I've worked at restaurants, and people who like wouldn't pay their tab are just some of like the worst people to deal with. So I don't have a kind of sympathy for him. But no, it's not. I wouldn't like endorse it.
Yeah, I wouldn't endorse it either. But I just wouldn't go to an outlaw biker bar and
I go to Applebee's.
I would not disrespect anybody. I'd be on my best behavior because I understand that an ass whooping is only like one disrespectful word away. Like, just would not do it.
So did these dudes actually look like bikers?
No, they were. Oh yeah, they had their rockers. So maybe you don't know this, but it says outlaw. So the Outlaws is one of the big four in America.
Yeah, I know. Once I see MC on the back of that, did it say MC on the back of his jacket?
Yes. So it said Outlaws, MC, and then it said forget which state or region it had, but it had a bottom rocker. So that is, which generally that's you either got permission from an outlaw club or you are an outlaw club. But since they're the big four, they're definitely outlaws. So these were full patch members. So these are like legit.
Where do they manufacture these patches? Is there like a patch industrial complex for gang members? It's amazing.
No, you just get them made. You go to a patch place and you get them made.
You could probably get it made on Redbubble.
I'm gonna start the first Pepe Outlaw Biker Gang. Pepe, you will be our logo, the essence of our gang. It'll be a frog with Mexican frog, cell phones everywhere, live social audio, former Bang Room creator, you and Mon, legends. The legend continues.
The thing is, though, is every time I've seen like outlaw bikers in the U.S., like in real life, like they're usually like pretty big individuals, and like I'm just gonna say I wouldn't be wanting to get in a brawl in between them and another biker group. Probably just not built for that.
So how's everybody spending their Sunday? I mean, this news article only has like a 10-minute shelf life, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, I know. I was just bored, making a room. But maybe that dude was drunk and he just like didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
I was in a room yesterday with Otis engaging on the "Is Judaism a Race" discourse.
With who?
I think Otis. I think his name hurricane now. Like a few other people.
Wait, is that why he made the room?
I think so. Well, no, I entered, he was in another room when they were talking about it, and then I entered his, like, response or reaction room to the event. So I wasn't part of the first room, but I was trying to make a case for it in a better way than it was probably done before.
Gotcha.
Fun topic.
Dude, it's bad.
I'll say one funny thing from it, though. Of, like, we were kind of talking about it, going in a little bit circles, because I was saying, like, it kind of is, it kind of isn't, and, like, and I even kind of, like, use their language for, like, their understanding of race, kind of like the left-wing academic understanding of race, and I'm kind of working within that framework, without summarizing my position too much. At a certain point in the conversation, I was like, I don't know, maybe it's one of those things, like, just like you have, you know, experiences as like, black people that I really can't understand. Maybe like you can't really understand this kind of aspect of like the Jewish experience, and they got like super offended at the notion that like they couldn't understand another group's perspective. It's like we understand everything.
You guys are an ethnic group?
Yeah, that it's like a race as well as an ethnicity and religion. Or at least my position, like more specifically, is at this moment in time in American society, it's not really a race like most Jews are considered like a subcategory of white, but generally speaking, when people are persecuting Jews, it's as a race, and there are certainly people in the United States, like anti-Semites, who view it as a race. So it's like, it's kind of complicated, you know, it's not like really like a yes or no, in my opinion. Like, wait, like when the people in Charlottesville were saying Jews will not replace us, they were not speaking of people who identify as people of the religion. They are talking about it as a race.
True.
I don't know if you agree with that.
I mean, yeah, they're ethnically Jewish. So, I mean, I don't. And yes, an Anon guy. Yeah, they could hardly maintain that dude. You're correct. He was a big black man, and that black man, you know, which is probably a good thing for him. Imagine if he was like an average-sized guy. The guy would have gotten beat up pretty quickly. But he was big and strong. But
is that how people generally like to spend their Friday nights, in like bars that you'd absolutely never want to go to begin with? I didn't see like any attractive women. You know, what a shit fucking bar.
He was wearing like a construction like reflective vest, so at least we know this black man works. And he you know, maybe he was just like, hey, I'm gonna take it easy tonight, have a few beers, you know, maybe he just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever been in a bar with biker gangs? I immediately generally leave right away, because I'm like, oh shit, this is a takeover, and it's not fun, and there's no hot young ladies here to have any fun with, so I'm...
Be disrespected while they're wearing their patched vests or jackets. Yeah. And so, if you disrespect them, or... They're just not a group, I mean, they're basically like fucking gang members. I mean, they're not people you really want to fuck with. They will fight. So, it's not a question of...
People have gotten killed. I mean, many times. I mean, and mostly white guys. If you look at all the Sturgis fights and stuff and all the gang-related fights, 90% of them are white people, unless it's against the Mongols, who allow like Mexicans and you know, different groups, but and blacks, you know. But I mean, a lot of them are.
Isn't it mostly stabbings? And you know, that's the difference. It's mostly fist fights and stabbings. That's the difference with biker gangs, right?
They do have, like, there was a big ass gun battle, you know, and stabbing. Well, they've had them in Vegas, they've had them in Texas. They shoot each other. Yeah, they're literally trying to kill each other. And the name Crank is actually, the name Crank is methamphetamine that's been stored in the crankshaft of the bikers. Like, that's what they do. They'll put it in there. They'll seal it up, the methamphetamine, and then open the crankshaft, like the crankcase out their fucking engine, and put that meth in there, and they can run it across the country, and it'll still survive. And that's where the name Crank came from. And that's what they really run, is methamphetamine and
probably fentanyl now, and yeah, they play for keeps. They're dangerous, like a lot of these people. And yeah, Matt, the Galloping Goose is like a 1%er gang that is pretty dangerous, man. They're small, but the smaller ones tend to be hyper violent. They're almost like the cartel of America, to be honest.
Man, ain't nobody scared of bikers but bikers. Other bikers. Stop it.
Really? You've never walked into a bar and seen 100 bikers take over that bar and you're like, holy shit.
I'm quite sure if you get caught in some hick town somewhere, you know what I mean? Yeah. But come on now. I don't know one person in the city that's scared of no goddamn old ass bikers on a fucking bicycle.
I mean, you gotta go out of your fuck with them for them to do anything, but these are people that are if you think about like criminal gangs, like at least for white people, pretty much mostly what there is, it's got to be biker club, and these are guys who are in and out of prison. They have weapons on them. They're just a whole different. But for the most part, they're not going to go out of the way to fuck with other people either. So. But I mean, you saw like what happened in Waco, Texas. Like when shit happens, they all start brawling, stabbing each other, shooting each other. Like that's what they do. Yeah. But black people should learn something. They ended up rounding up like 200 people, and like the charges against nearly all of them got dropped because all of them refused to snitch and they all refused to testify.
And they complied.
Yep. Oh, and the reason the cops didn't shoot them, yeah, they complied.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
No, that's true. I mean, there's discipline in these.
A kid just got murdered. A kid just got murdered again in the car. The sheriff looked in the car, saw him and shot him and killed him. He complied. The rest of his friends ran off. They didn't get caught and they didn't get shot.
Oh God, is that the one where the guy pointed the gun at the cop? That one, that story?
No, I'm not talking about. It's another story that just happened actually. Which is crazy because this kid actually stayed. He didn't run and got killed.
Okay, so you found one?
Found one, bro. You know this shit been happening, man. What are you talking about found one?
Matt.
No, normal. You should come up because I think you're somebody who could. I want to ask you a question. I do too when you're done. So up Normo, there was these outlaw motorcycle club members, and they were at their bar drinking, having a good time, and this big old black man, ended up ordering drinks and refused to pay his tab. And so, after asking him many times, please pay your tab, he didn't pay it, and so they beat him up a little bit and called him the N-word and stuff. And I want these nice gentlemen, I want to, if there's any legal troubles, and I also don't want them to get canceled, I want to set up a GoFundMe. Do you think you'd donate?
Listen, I understand you're doing white supremacist performance art, but please, I'm not a part of the performance, Pepper.
Can I ask you normal? Some big cat like a month ago was planning you an answer. I hope that's not true, dude. If you do, I hope you're okay and stuff. Hope everyone's doing well.
Baruch Hashem. I have not, God has not given me that affliction.
Alright, good. Okay.
El Normo, what do you think about El Pepe's room? I mean, is this kind of what Lonzo does, but another aspect of hate speech?
To be honest, Lonzo is much worse. When everybody knows that Pepe is just doing performance art, he's kidding. But Lonzo, I think, really believes this shit.
El Normo, are there any Jewish biker gangs?
Yeah,
there was like those Jewish biker gangs. There are.
Yeah, sure there are. And I've ridden with Sonny Bar. I have to go and look it up. I forget. But I've ridden with Sonny Barger of the Hells Angels. And I celebrated his birthday with him. And I did a piece about him.
He used to live right now. What's screwed up about the Hells Angels, what did them the worst was they had like really convincing cops that were infiltrating the Hells Angels, and were able to do a real damage to that group. Like 2 or 3 times, I think. I think it's happened to all of the big clubs. Yeah, probably, yeah. But that's what I used to live near me in what do you call it, Cave Creek, Arizona.
Yeah, I've been there. That's where Sonny lived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was there at his house, and I rode with him on his 66th birthday.
So did you go to did you go to any of the bars or anything there in Cave Creek?
Yeah, we did a, what do you call it? We did like a bar crawl.
Yeah, because they have like Arizona Bike Week and everybody goes through there.
Hell, normal bar crawls with the Hell Angels? I've heard it all now.
That's correct.
There's a whole lot of people that do it. There's like, most of the bikers are not like 1% clubs, or even in a club, but there's gonna be some that are. It's kind of like Sturgis.
I was gonna say, Sturgis, is there always like wild there, or are they pretty well contained there? I hadn't checked.
They're pretty contained because they're not allowed to wear colors anymore. They're like patches, I guess, in a lot of places. And it used to happen regularly. Like when my mom was pregnant with my sister, there was a shooting in Sturgis, like in the 80s and 87. And it was really close by her and stuff. And that was commonplace, but they've got it pretty heavy now, and kind of like an agreement that they're not allowed to wear certain patches, and, like colors, I guess. And even though it is crazy though, because like I worked for Michael Ballard for the Full Throttle for 2 seasons. I just got lucky. I went over there and asked the lady when they were recruiting if they had any room. And I became a bar back the first, like the first season and the second season. I worked in the liquor room, Michael Ballard, and they were, telling me all about it and stuff. And like, it's just crazy because you'll see, a bunch of different biker gangs that, are in the same vicinity, that normally hate each other, but they kind of have an agreement to chill out there, because they're so heavy with police. It's just crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather be in a biker gang than like the Crips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Oh my God, Matt. Have you ever heard of Cook's Corner?
Yeah.
Right. I'd rather be in Cook's Corner than in fucking Long Beach.
There we go. You got it.
Well, what's cool about the bikers, bro, is that they're like the last free people in a way, because they're very cheap, to run across the country. You're kind of running under the radar, but like that you're official. They know the police know you're a gang, but you still try to operate under the radar. It's just kind of weird, like it's camaraderie.
The cops kind of let you do what you want to do, where if you're in the Crips, they're looking.
Here's a list of stuff your car insurance company does, but is actually illegal. Number 1,
they do the whole business they do to you.
But Matt, they'll do charity events like the Hells Angels and they'll do charity events for children and different things that kind of, like literally they'll act like the Robin Hood, they're kind of, it's not what they do. I've never seen that show. They'll do giant charity drives and charity events and Santa Claus events that grow. But so what do you guys do in booths? Have you ever heard of a guy named booths too? Yeah, that's kind of what they do to try to act official, but at the same time, they got people running drugs and definitely getting
I'm sitting here doing a live for that drum rock call. I'm telling you right now, Ernest, you can't handle it in prison, boy. You're better off telling what you know for your sake, for your family's sake. For your pleasure. You know something, he's as dumb as a washboard. You know that, Graham? Yeah, you don't be yapping first chance you get, huh? Like, you're supposed to be partners, and it ain't my fault that you got it. Ain't my fault that you got caught with the car, you dumbbell. You didn't give me shit. I was wondering because somebody else got a whole plan. I'm gonna talk to him, make sure you ain't a part of it, because you're thinking the head. He almost said he was thinking the head. This is the plan. I'm sitting here because of his plan.
Exactly.
Ernest, you're a good man, aren't you? Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen smash and grabs done by white people?
You suppose so, are you, aren't you?
Never.
I am, sir. I am. You love your wife and children?
Why don't we see that? That's a good point.
Yes, sir. You served your country in infantry, and I don't think this Saturday life was meant to turn out. Hey, look.
We can't say you mess so I won't do it. I would never mess with that. Everybody deal with Matt typically doesn't have a problem with
Just somebody that if you believe it for now, I wouldn't go that far. Arrest me, son.
I obviously had no interest in ever joining one because Pepe's been a motorcycle.
Pepe's gonna join. He's gonna break out his pink Harley. Pepe's gonna bring out his pink Harley like Tamara the Real Housewives.
Clubhouse hate speech rooms are the new biker gang, and Pepe is the leader of a biker gang here in a social audio app.
What up, Craig?
Wait, what do you have in Arizona right now, Pepe? Who's the biggest?
It's a Hell's Angels thing. That's where Sonny Barker lived.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Hells Angels don't fuck with nobody though. You have to go out of your way to fuck with them. For them to fuck with you, they cool. You know what I'm saying?
Pepe, the biggest gang next to you are Mormon housewives. I'm just letting you know.
We do have a lot of those here.
Exactly. Can we shout out to Mormon housewives as like the hottest women in America?
There's a lot of Mormon women are pretty good.
What do you think? They go to the gym every day and like sit out at the beach and suntan?
They definitely go to the gym.
They're like, so Mormons are like really big into like being healthy, and you have to understand, like, they don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't do any of that shit that, like, I guess will make you like age poorly. So they tend to be, it's been my experience, because of like how their clean lifestyle, they tend to look pretty good.
They're not sexy at all. They have no sex appeal.
No, all of them look like Ann with a fat ass.
Oh, you don't think Ann has a fat ass?
I think she's got that Irish flat butt.
She's got a moon, what do you call it? Pancake butt. Nothing there.
Ann got a big old diaper Lebanese booty.
Have you ever had sex with one?
You're gonna get her mad. She's gonna come up here, though. Careful.
With Ann? No. Ann, that would be incest.
Dr. Adams, you would never go in a biker bar, drink a ton of vodka, come on Clown House, start screaming at people, then get in an actual fight with a bunch of bikers.
Yo. Like I said, I brought up Cook's Corner. Like, y'all don't know how many times I've been in Cook's Corner and been sitting up on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Cook's Corner.
You ever heard of it, Mom?
No, what is that?
Can't get out.
That's when you go in the corner and start cooking.
I was here.
Secret location.
From Zariwa to this.
Oh, amazing.
Do you remember that scene in Pee Wee
In the
Herman's?
English second language, what the fuck was that?
He just came up to say, Blake was here from the river to the sea.
What do you think about Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure when he goes into that biker bar and then he does the song and dance? Was that a gay bikers bar? I can't remember.
What do you think about Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure masturbating in a movie theater?
Well, there's a new HBO documentary coming out about Paul Rubens, and honestly, it's supposed to be amazing. I saw the preview; it looked really good. Because he was such a huge success, and that brought him down. But he was so successful that it was basically his retirement.
I know the Pee Wee Herman song's playing in everyone's head. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I haven't watched that.
So is black fatigue a real thing, Pepe, or is it just like spam?
If you have to live around them, yeah.
Yeah, but like, I mean, there's obviously an index. There's a percentage of every group that you would prefer not to be around, but then there's a percentage of the group that, you got no problems with.
I would say, I would say like in the online sphere, since like the BLM bullshit, yeah, there's a lot of fucking black fatigue. It's kind of dying down. I mean, if we're being realistic, it's like if you see like you get. I feel like when like white trash behaves differently from like ghetto people. No way.
You right about that?
I'd rather live next to white trash than ghetto people, in my personal.
Well, I feel like if you're gonna get
me three.
If you get like if you get like ghetto black women, for example, like they're the ones that are like loud and obnoxious, get an attitude. Whereas white women, they kind of do the same thing, but they look like put their hands on their hips, and they'll just be a little belligerent, but they're just like super passive aggressive and annoying. Like you want to punch them in the face too, but it's just white women. I don't know. Like, what do white people do when they act like classless white trash?
They throw fists. I saw the cutest girls last night, drunk at the bar, throwing fists because some guy gets in an Uber with some girl. I mean, young people, when they're intoxicated, the whole problem is just intoxication. 99% of all these police domestic calls, it's always alcohol. Always.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty hungover last today. Oh my god, I love white women.
Racist.
So Pepe, do you think there's like a predisposition within the African American community, like a predisposition towards violence, or is it just natural? If you go to the zoo and you see, superior, like a silverback with, his 10 female gorillas, and he's the physically dominant and most violent, but not the most playful, because I've witnessed and observed how animals are super playful, but then there is like this alpha primate type of predisposition in the index.
I don't know. Like gorillas are known to be a lot more gentle than chimpanzees, for example. A chimpanzee is way more likely to fucking kill you than a gorilla. But obviously, the gorilla is like the way bigger species. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
I'm just saying it's like machismo or hormones. It's like fuck around and find out, because from their perspective, I am the superior primate, and you're fucking with me. So like now you're gonna find out. Like that's you don't see that in maybe other groups. I'm just saying there's like a herd or a genetic slice of the pie that you fuck around, you find out with that pie.
Just spit it out, John. Just spit out what you want to say.
It's just there is a personality within every group where you can tell, like, this is somebody I shouldn't fuck around with because they're itching to fight. That's what I'm saying. You can see it. They take their shirt off. They act a certain way. They carry themselves.
I have a question.
Wait, hold on, Adams. Hold on. What were you saying, Matt?
No, I was just gonna say, we just said that there was white biker gangs itching to fight. I don't think there's any thing right out the gate saying that a certain group's gonna fight. Just depends on what they're doing. Yeah.
Matt, how many fights and brawls do you hear coming out of Cook's Corner?
Yeah, no, I get that. You're right. I get it. Yeah. But I'm just pointing out, I mean, I know where John's going. I think we all know where John's going, but it's kind of like you gotta, regroup and really think about it a little bit better.
White people do not bang the same. Like, that's just what it is. Like, white people do not gang bang the same.
Like I said, for me, it's all context. And yeah, you're right. We all go about our But if we want to, we will fight. You know what I mean? It just depends on what the context is.
So let's go to a different group that experiences gang activity in California. Shout out to the Vietnamese, right? Let's take a little trip over to Westminster. Do you see smash and grabs happening in Westminster, Matt?
No.
Right. So do you see liquor store robberies, smash and grabs, and the different types of criminal activity that exists in the Black America? Do you see that happening in Westminster?
I mean, yes.
Garden Grove?
The thing is, though,
Exactly.
You brought up the Vietnamese. They're
violent.
I was about to say they're probably more violent than especially in the 90s. They were a lot more violent than the Black gangs.
No, but we're talking about today. You don't see smash and grabs. You don't see anybody hashtag trending Vietnamese fatigue. You don't see that.
No, you're right about that. We're just talking about heavy. It's nobody mentioned that the Vietnamese back in the day were like one of the most violent groups. You know what I mean? But I don't know what happened. I mean,
there were a lot of them. So when they first came over here, they were basically refugees. So like the Laotians, Cambodians, and Vietnamese, and they came over here. They were like literal peasants that fled war. And they grew up really poor, and their gangs were they were just vicious. Even here in Phoenix, they were just known to, they killed each other a lot, but they were, other people tried to avoid them because they were a group that would just absolutely will not hesitate to kill you or kill people close to you if you fuck with them. And then the Hmongs were probably the worst. I don't know. I mean, they definitely were violent.
That wasn't my experience with the Vietnamese people. Like, I went to elementary school, private school, in, Garden Grove. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of
school. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I went to
gang members in private school.
You might be asking what year, basically, or because.
So in the 90s. So I believe when I finished elementary school was 2000. So I mean, for me, growing up in Southern Orange County and going to private school in Garden Grove, I went to Christ Cathedral. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Glory of Christmas. Like, my school was actually pretty lit. We used to ride camels and fucking horses, as a part of our curriculum. But, it's one of those things where growing up...
Was that like driver's ed and sex ed on the same day?
No. So, growing up in an area that is predominantly, at the time, before the Latinos came in, that was predominantly Vietnamese and, Asian, I will say that, in the 90s, in that specific area, it wasn't the Asian people causing the problem. It was actually Latinos.
Yeah, I can get on with that. I had both of those going on where I grew up. Like, we had a nasty Vietnamese gang. That's why when it was brought up, I'm like, oh yeah, I can really relate to that, because those guys were just, slaughtering people down in San Diego. So, and then, the Hispanic gangs were all over the place. So, I think both groups, at least in my era, were, going berserk.
Matt, do you think there's a lack of emotional intelligence? Is there a lack of emotional intelligence in these gang members, and is that why they have such a proclivity towards violence?
Matt, have you ever stole a candy bar?
Yeah.
How did it feel?
What the fuck? Who steals a candy bar? What the fuck? I had a credit card at 11. Why would anybody steal a fucking candy bar?
When I was in 14,
Look, whoever said why would anybody steal a candy bar, that's one privileged motherfucker.
I would do it for fun when I was 9 years old.
I just feel like a little toy car here and there from whatever,
You fucking bastard! I thought you were straight, man. Damn, bro.
You thought it was a clean white man? You thought it was a clean white man?
Yeah, dude. What the hell?
Matt, let me tell you something. When I was in preschool, I went to preschool in Huntington Beach, and there was a little girl that gave me something, and I held on to it, just being an innocent 5-year-old. My mom noticed that shit in freaking Rancho Santa Margarita, drove back over to Huntington Beach to have me go return it. Like that's the type of values that I grew up with.
I had the same thing. I had to return it. And this, I'll be honest, that wasn't the first time I had done it before. And each time, you're right, Adams, we were disciplined, in our family enough to go, you have to go return that. And by the way, it made all things better because I didn't get any trouble. The people that I returned it to were like, okay, well, there we go. Where if I was to run out of the store and put up a fight, then that's a whole different story. You know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't have done that, by the way. I would have just given it back. But, we're in a different era now where people are stabbing the people that are stopping them from, stopping.
No, we're definitely in a different era. Like, my aunt, for example, my older cousins, they're now in their 40s. My aunt literally took my older cousin and had him put in the Moreno Valley jail. Okay? Just to show him exactly what happens when you don't follow the law. He was literally, this was before I was born. He was literally 10 years old, crying in the fucking Moreno Valley jail, right? Because my aunt took him down to the jail and